Priyanka Chopra is a world-renowned actress. She's been one of the biggest Bollywood superstars for the past decade. She's a former Miss India and Miss World who's won awards in India that are comparable to Oscars and Golden Globes in the US. But what many don't know is that she also likes to sing. Since 2010, she's worked to record and polish a full-length album that'll be introduced in the US this year. Late last year, she released a dance single called In My City, which she hopes will help build momentum for the new album.
You sold about 200,000 units already in India of the single In My City. Are you happy with the result?
Well, yes, because that happened in a month. And that's really not something either Universal, Interscope, Desi Hits, or any of us expected, honestly. Because those are not the numbers you get for records, well, today especially. But it was really, really great to have that happen. It was so overwhelming, and I'm really, really glad that I have so much support from home.
This song represents, for the first time, somebody from India going out there in the world and making music. This is In My City, my first song.
Come on and welcome to my city.
She wanted to really bridge the worlds of Bollywood, but also have a lot of very Western flair in the music that she wanted to make.
Anjula Acharia Bath is the CEO of Desi Hits, a New York-based media company that produces and distributes entertainment content targeted at South Asians throughout the world. Desi Hits has formed a niche around helping celebrities resonate with South Asians. She's helped everyone from Lady Gaga to 50 Cent develop their strategies for breaking into the South Asian market. After several years of success as an ambassador for American celebrities in India and other markets, she's now preparing to do the reverse for Indian entertainers trying to make it big in the United States. The concept for her company was born out of a yearning she had as a young girl to see more South Asian celebrities achieve global pop culture success.
I grew up in England, as you can tell from my accent, and I grew up looking at Western pop culture and always feeling somewhat on the outside of it. Always kind of felt like I was on the outside looking in. And because I never saw anyone that looked like me, and I always felt invisible to the artists that I loved. Like, I knew everything about them, but I didn't even know if they knew where India was, or what my background was, or why I ate Indian food, or whatever. And so I had this dream from being a child, to be honest with you, Lee, that if I could ever have a role in pop culture, it would be to change that. And I had no idea that, wow, 35 years later, actually not that long, 25 years later, I would be sitting with Jimmy Iovine, and he would be investing in my company and saying to me, what is it that you really want to do, Anjula? And I said, Jimmy, I really want to change pop culture globally. And he said, why? And I told him the story about being a child and kind of seeing, all of these pop icons, but nobody that ever looked like me or represented me. And I said I wanted to change that. And I felt like now was the time because, the world is flat, as we all know, and globalization is all around us. And ultimately, South Asians are 1/5 of the world's population, and we've never had anyone represented in mainstream pop culture. I mean, we have everyone else being represented, but not South Asians.
Anjula knew Priyanka Chopra, the actress, but she didn't know Priyanka Chopra, the singer. It didn't take her long to decide that the rest of the world should know that side of Chopra as well.
I saw Priyanka in a movie called Bluffmaster, and she did this hip-hop video spoof, and she was like kind of in this like bikini top thing, and she was dancing, and it was a spoof on like a hip-hop video in Bollywood. And I just remember looking at her going, wow, I think she could really cross over. Like, she's got that swag, and I was just like, I think she could really do this.
But did you know she could sing?
No. But then the director of that movie, I knew him, and I said to him, because that was the first time she'd gone in the studio and recorded something during that time, and I said to him, hey, what do you know about Priyanka? Obviously, he'd done a movie with her, and he said, oh, she's amazing, and she sings. And I was like, are you kidding me? He was like, yeah.
And your wheels were turning because you already saw her as a potential singer.
Exactly, but I didn't really have the means to make it happen at that point. So later on when I met Jimmy and we decided to go on this journey together to change global pop culture, because you know Jimmy has to do big things, right? Like, you know, he had to find the white guy that could rap, and he had to find, you know, I mean, Jimmy's just Jimmy.
He had to do Beats by Dre.
You know, he just has to do big global things that nobody else has ever done before. So when I came to him with this project, it was definitely something he'd never done before. He'd never made a Bollywood star, a global pop icon. So he was like, yeah, I'm in. But anyway, yeah. So you know, when I brought Priyanka to Jimmy, he got it straight away.
And at some point, you had to make this proposal to Jimmy. How did that process work?
Well, it's a bit of a convoluted story, actually. So what happened was I set up a label deal which was predominantly out of the UK. Jimmy had introduced me to a guy called David Joseph, who runs UK UMG. And David and I actually first came up with the plan. So David came to India with me to meet Priyanka, and then we agreed to sign her. And that was kind of how the story started. And then as I got to know Priyanka and as I started fleshing out the idea and it started becoming a reality, I was like, this needs to be bigger. This needs to be bigger than the UK. This needs to be global. And as I said to you before, like there is no one like Jimmy that understands global icons and pop music. So David and I introduced Priyanka to Jimmy, and he met her, and in a second he said, this is going to work. Like, this is going to work. And you know, he just believed in it, and we went through a whole journey together.
Chopra spent part of her childhood in the United States.
I came here for a vacation, actually, and a lot of my cousins stay here. My family, my mom's side of the family stays here. Her sisters, her brothers. And I went to visit a couple of my cousins' schools, found it really interesting, and decided to stay back. This school helped me with my visa, and I did high school here. It was a spontaneous, ridiculous, like, impulsive decision at 12.
What were you looking to get out of that experience?
Just a different exposure, I guess. Just to see what the world would be like, to explore it. And the fact that my parents always supported me with being able to take any decision that I wanted.
But while life in America exposed Chopra to American entertainment culture, it was her foray into Bollywood, not Hollywood, that made her a star. After debuting in 2002, she became a household name in India in just a few years, in part due to Bollywood's evolution into an international phenomenon.
You obviously had this vision too, because as we've talked many times before, Bollywood in many ways is bigger than Hollywood.
Yes.
People don't realize
No.
that. Give me some quantifiable terms.
Well, Bollywood is a much bigger film industry than Hollywood. It has penetration all over the world. I mean, to give you a stat, roughly 40% of Bollywood revenue comes from outside of India. And obviously there's 1.2 billion people in India, 1.1 billion people in India. So that's a pretty big market right there. But Bollywood has penetration in the UK, in Canada, South Africa, Germany, all across the Middle East, parts of Russia, China. I mean, it's really a huge phenomenon. And the reason I think that Bollywood is such a huge phenomenon is because it's so musically, it's so musical. I mean, most Bollywood movies are musicals, so the music can sort of penetrate and translate in ways that, you know, nothing else can.
Music is universal.
Absolutely. And also, you know, many of the storylines for Bollywood movies have been sort of very family friendly. So it really sort of penetrates at all ages. I think that's changed somewhat in Bollywood. Now they're sort of making more genre-led movies, whereas before everything was a family movie. But essentially, I think the music is what makes Bollywood really travel in ways that, you know, maybe Hollywood doesn't.
With that belief that Priyanka could leverage her international Bollywood fame into stardom in the West, her team has never doubted her ability to connect with movie fans. But making the transition to becoming a successful recording artist was a new challenge for her entire team.
When she came back with the initial recordings, you weren't happy with it.
You know, I think music is one of those things that you don't know it's not right until it's not right.
But how do you know that how did you know that it wasn't right, that it didn't feel right to you?
Well, when we started on the journey, I think that we just gravitated towards, Priyanka loves dance music. So I think we went through this whole thing about, okay, we're going to make dance music because that's what she loves. And we made some music, and I think at the beginning I just thought that she was somewhat invisible in that music. I couldn't see her, and I couldn't see what I was really trying to do, which was this sort of, like I said to you, like this journey of East meets West, and it just wasn't there for me. So I phoned Priyanka up and I said, how are you feeling about the music? And she said, I don't think we're there yet. And I said, oh my God, thank God, because I don't think we're there yet either.
You didn't want to have to convince her that we weren't there yet.
And then I was in Jimmy's office and I was having a chat with Jimmy, and he was he's so amazing. He was like, yeah, we're not there yet. And then we had this conversation about how are we going to get there, and we talked about Red One.
They recruited famed producer Nadir Kayat, known more widely as Red One, to work with Chopra. Red One has produced the multi-platinum albums that turned Lady Gaga into a superstar. He also produced records for Enrique Iglesias and Jennifer Lopez. In working with Chopra, he created dance music that appealed to the Western music industry without losing its South Asian feel.
From what I hear you saying, you didn't hear the South Asian influence like you wanted to in that record.
I didn't feel it and I didn't see it.
And Priyanka wanted that too.
Absolutely. But I think that we had to go through this journey of discovering what the sound was going to be like. And fortunately, nobody rushed it. Fortunately, we're 2 years later and we've only just come out with our first single.
But what are the benefits now of being able to actually hear and feel that South Asian influence in a westernized way, but also feeling that and not losing that identity?
It's so authentic. It's authentic to who she is. And I will tell you very honestly that Red One helped us go on that journey. Like Red One pushed us when we were scared. When we were scared to go there, so we knew we wanted to go there, right? We knew we wanted to bring in the influences of Priyanka's cultural heritage, my cultural heritage. But you're always sitting there going, is it too much? Will it be palatable? Will people like it? Will it be alien to their ears? Like there's always this sort of push and pull, right? Because you want to make global pop hits that essentially people are going to buy.
Priyanka took every opportunity to learn from Red One.
What have you learned from him musically?
Well, that he's a hit maker.
That's all you need to really know, right? In this
Red
business.
goes into the studio and just goes, ding, 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 ta-da-dum. Okay, put that, da-da-da-da-da, and there's a song. And it's like 5 minutes. And it's incredible watching him in a studio. And he's such a great, fun guy. He's always happy. The atmosphere in the studio is just energetic because he's there, and he creates from that. He creates from positivity. He creates from energy, and he just makes making music so much fun.
And when you've co-written with him, how has that process worked?
Well, it was great that he encouraged me to do that. It was really nice that he pushed me to be involved with the songs, so they were a lot more mine than just songs that were written for me.
Did that make it easier for you?
It did,
Okay.
because it reflected my personality. And when I sang them, I knew that what I was meaning, what I meant to say.
Red One reflected on working with Chopra.
I understand why she's a star, and it's about time to have a superstar, an Indian superstar, become a global superstar. And now more than ever, like the world with the YouTube, Facebook, the world is becoming one. And with my music, all my music being all over the world, and with, people have access to anything, when it comes to music and politics and everything, everything about everything. So this is the perfect time to break a global star like her, an Indian. We never experienced an Indian artist becoming huge. It's about time.
Is that pressure too when you think about people not maybe taking her seriously because she's an actress?
When it comes to people in Bollywood or the Indian community, it might be new to them as a Bollywood star becoming a global star. You know what I mean?
Right.
So They'd be like, oh, maybe she's this, she's that. But for the world, all they know she's an Indian girl that's coming out to the world. So we did the best music that she feels, she loves, who she is. We just represented who she is.
Now they face the daunting challenge of figuring out how to turn this South Asian star into a celebrity in North America.
Over the years, you become the foremost expert in breaking people into South Asia and doing the vice versa. What do you have to do differently to break Priyanka Chopra into North America?
I think first off, that's a very good question. I think first off, make her accessible. You know, I think make her accessible. I think the things that, you know, Troy and I have worked on very closely together is how do we put her on platforms that make her accessible. You know, she's this iconic global star in another part of the world. And it's hard because, you know, she is who she is. It's like, how do you make any major star accessible?
You team them up with the NFL.
Absolutely right. I mean,
So,
taking something.
Tell us about that. What is
Yeah,
she doing
well,
with the NFL?
it's actually Steve Berman who came up with the concept of the NFL, and it was kind of crazy to me because here was something so quintessentially American football, and here's this Bollywood star, and it's kind of like oil and water, right?
She doesn't know anything about football.
Well, exactly. Like it was like oil and water; they don't really mix. And I think that she, you know, she got the feeling of what the NFL was about, and she delivered that.
Okay, so that's now every Thursday night.
Yes,
when
she
there's
does
a
the
football
pregame
and
show.
NFL game, she's doing the pregame show.
Yeah.
That is an audience of millions and
Yes.
millions of people.
Yes.
Was that your vision? I mean, how does that help you from a marketing perspective?
I mean, it just puts her on the map with a whole demographic that probably had never heard of her before, you know?
And what are people saying? I mean, when they see this song, and it's a really cool song, someone who's famous, but they may not know her because they may not have watched Bollywood movies. So what is the typical reaction that you're getting?
Well, so we have people that analyse the chatter online, and I've been hearing that about 98% of that is positive. So people are, you know, and I think there's this element of who is this girl? Like, who is this beautiful, probably don't know that she's Indian, this exotic looking woman on the NFL, and there's a lot of that, who is this girl? But no, it's been hugely successful. It's been a great platform for Priyanka. I think she's added some sizzle and some, you know, exoticism to the NFL, which wasn't there before. So overall, it's been incredibly positive.
The question now is, will they be able to capitalize on the NFL exposure to help Chopra build popularity among the millions of American sports fans?
So how do you go from having this great song, this song that is heard by millions of people, and actually monetizing that and turning her into a recording artist that people recognize here in America?
Well, I think, you know, music these days is so much about building. Like, it's like building a momentum, and I think that the NFL for us was about building momentum. It was about putting her on a platform and getting exposure for somebody that, even though is this huge star on the other side of the world, nobody knows here. So for us, it's just a case of building that and building the online chatter and getting people talking about it. But essentially, I mean, it's no different to any other artist. Now you've got to go to radio, get your digital presence, and really start pushing the track and hoping that people like it enough to buy it.
Surely, it's not easy to break new artists, but the fact that Priyanka Chopra already has an avid following is a major advantage.
Do you derive some benefit from the fact that she's already famous?
Absolutely. We sold 200,000 records in a few days in India because of her fame.
Okay, so what that does is it gives you a little bit of cash to pour back into the project.
And also, because she is who she is, many doors have opened for us. I mean, the reception that Priyanka has had, and I think the curiosity that people have around her because she is this big global star. And you know, I mean, when she walks in, you feel it. You feel her presence. You feel that she is this iconic star straight away. And it's opened up a
She's
ton
got
of,
like 50 people with her everywhere she
exactly.
goes.
You know, and people look at her Twitter following and they look at her Facebook following and they see that she's got this weighty presence. You know, all the doors, to be honestly, have really opened. We've been really lucky.
And what helps with the buy-in, right? I mean, how many fans does she have on Twitter?
I think she's over 2 million.
Okay, so
yeah.
that kind of helps.
But Priyanka Chopra's next challenge is to use her music to attract an entirely new fan base.
What do you say to people who say you're never going to make it? There's just no way, you've done enough. Why do you need to go into music? You're not going to be good.
Because I've always been told I'm never going to do it, and when they tell me I'm never going to do it, I want to do it even more.
Now, see, you said earlier, you said you didn't do that, but the human nature.
Do.
Okay.
At least to give it my best. And I've done that through my career. In the movies that I pick, in the parts that I play, I've always been told, you know, oh my God, why are you doing this movie? That's going to happen if you do it. And then when the movie comes out, yes, there have been times that have been wrong too. There have been times I've picked on a movie and it's never done well, and people have said, but, you know, that why would you even do a movie like that? But I know that I'm who I am today as an actor because I don't restrict myself to just being in the box. I try and do different things. And you never know, I could be a ballerina someday too.
Well, knowing you could. But it seems like you just want to continue to set challenges for yourself.
I think so. I think setting the bar higher just makes you grow so much more as a person. Otherwise, you just stagnate.
Well, it's hard to imagine you being stagnant, but I think that as you go on, you're going to find new challenges. What they are, I don't know what that would be.
I don't know either.
But they seem to just pop into your life from time to time.
They do.
What is the most important message that you want to get across as you break into North America? And do you believe that you'll make it in North America?
You know, I don't know if I'll make it in North America or not. I don't even know if I will make it in India. The way I see it is, you know, the world's a really global place right now. And I'm just a girl who has a story to tell. And not from here. I come from a completely different culture, and I'm just trying to entertain people. It's just as simple as that.
I got in here somehow. This was my door. Right. Lord, I have no other talent. I like that. This is what God gave me, and I had to work with it.
So I feel like my life has a path that it's taking me on, and it's pretty good. So I wouldn't mess with that.